Welcome back to the Bold Women in Business podcast, where we are counting down the top 5 episodes of this show leading up to our very special launch of season 3 in a few weeks. Today, we are up to number 4, and the conversation that I'm sharing today, again, I could listen to this conversation so many times, is with Rachel Meltzer, aka Rachel Meltzer Seltzer, if you know, you know, who shares about the loneliness of entrepreneurship. And anyone who has been a solopreneur understands that loneliness on some level, and how she created a community-based approach to entrepreneurship. We had such a great conversation where she shared so many good tips on how to really grow as a business owner, to move beyond just thinking of yourself as a freelancer, to really owning the mindset of business ownership, and really how community makes all the difference. We talked about female entrepreneurship and connection and so many good things. And I'm so excited to share this conversation with you again. Enjoy. Hey, beautiful human. You're listening to Bold Women in Business, the show where strategy meets soul in marketing, branding, and business growth. I'm your host, Rachel Honeyman, messaging and branding strategist, content queen, and compulsive meaning maker. Every week, I'll help you ditch the cookie cutter playbook and build a brand that actually sounds like you, sells like hell, and feels so damn good to show up for. Let's get bold. It is my pleasure to bring a fellow Rachel onto the pod, Rachel Meltzer. In my head, I call you Rachel Meltzer Seltzer. I don't know if is that okay?
That
Am
is
I the only
super
one
common. You're not the only one, I don't think. Someone thought that my last name was Rachel Seltzer one time, and I was like, sorry, that's not right.
Yeah, it's really funny. We've been connected for a long time. You probably saw me in who viewed your profile a year ago, because when I first launched my business, I was scoping you out so much because I got so much inspiration from how you were running your business. And I was doing mostly freelance writing in the early days of my business. And then now I've transitioned to branding and web design, but I still love, what you're putting out there and everything. So it's really, really great to finally get to chat with you. Do you want to just give a quick intro and who you are and what you do?
Yeah, totally. Hi, I'm Rachel Meltzer, rhymes with seltzer. This is why everyone thinks my last name is Meltzer Seltzer. It is my brand name. Right now, I do sort of 50-50. I'm still a freelance writer for the tech industry primarily, but I also am coaching freelancers. So I'm a business coach for freelancers. I run a membership community where you can get all of my resources, workshops, ask me anything calls, and an awesome Slack community. And then I also do one-on-one coaching, and I have tons and tons and tons of free resources. My mission right now is to ungatekeep freelancing. So I'm putting out a free course on YouTube and just sharing as much as I possibly can without burning myself out, basically.
Amazing. What's the free course on?
So I used to sell a course, Camp Moxie, which is a boot camp for new freelance writers. So if you've no experience and you've never done it before, you want to set up your business and get your first couple of clients and make your portfolio and all of those things, that's what the course is about. I decided to stop selling it because I really don't enjoy launching. I hate the fact that maybe 25% of people typically finish online courses, no matter what you as a course creator do. And it just feels really disconnected. I'm so much happier being able to do live workshops and be in the Slack community answering people's questions. And there is no one way to do freelancing. So making a course was really hard because I'm sharing all these different ways. But at the end of the day, you could still go through this course and have questions for me. So I was like, let's just put this on YouTube. Why am I gatekeeping this? People can love this and then just come hang out in Pop Club or whatever,
Yeah, I love that. Tell us what is Pop Club?
Yeah, Pop Club is my membership community for freelancers. So it's all based in a Slack community, and then everybody sort of tends to check in there at least once a week. Some people come in every day. And then we have 2 workshops a month, 2 office hours a month. We've got free co-working. The co-working is open to absolutely anyone. You don't have to be in the club to use it.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
I'm such a co-working girly. I can't get anything done unless somebody's watching me and making sure I do it. So
co-working was such a game changer for me that as soon as I was big enough to, I decided to hire a couple of our community members to be hosts. So Michelle and Sarah and I all tend to host these free community events. And Shelby does creative writing sometimes. And they all have themes, which is really fun. So there's general co-working, but we also have money dates because no one wants to like actually do their bookkeeping, but doing it with friends is better, and
yes,
pitch parties and things like that.
Everything is better with friends. So this is a really good segue into what I wanted to ask you about, which is I feel like you've done such a good job of like transforming from just being a freelancer to being a business owner, right? And I feel like obviously if you're a freelancer, you are a business owner, but I think that there tends to be this kind of like disconnect between those. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on like how do you bridge the gap between freelancing and business ownership, entrepreneurship, and like, is there a shift that has to happen? Is it a mindset thing? Is it a practical thing? How do you navigate that or think about that?
Yeah, actually, it's so funny that you say this because half an hour ago, I wrote a post on LinkedIn that was like all caps yelling, if you are a freelancer, you're a business owner. The number one mistake I see freelancers making is relying completely on applying to gigs on LinkedIn that are listed as jobs. And they get those email alerts for freelance gigs they might qualify for from LinkedIn, applying to those exclusively, or only getting gigs from other people's posts when they say they're hiring, or relying on Upwork, things like that. That to me is employee mindset. Okay. And you as a freelancer, whether you like it or not, or know it or not, are a business owner, like you said. And it's so easy because you're a solopreneur to just sort of get by. But when you are chasing clients that way, where you're relying on someone else to say that they are hiring and hope that they pick you out of a sea of 100+ comments and applications, and you get more and more desperate and you have no predictability and you have nothing to rely on, there's no net to catch you, and you're in that panic mode, that's not sustainable or fun. That is not being a business owner. That is being an employee, right? When you want a job as an employee, you apply for it. So as a business owner, the shift really needs to be like, you're running a business. You are going out and getting clients, whether that's networking, you can be doing direct outreach, you can be DMing connections you already have who may or may not be relevant to you. They already know you. And just letting them know you don't have to ask for a job. You don't have to ask for a gig. You're not begging. You are just simply saying, hey, I have availability. This is what I do if you ever want to work together. Asking them about themselves. So you're building a two-way relationship that is actually meaningful. The amount of people who've said, oh, I don't have any work, but I'll keep you in mind next time, and then end up referring me out to somebody else because I'm showing that I'm an expert on my profile and I'm being kind to them by treating them like a real human being. And I'm following up with them often enough that I'm staying top of mind, but not annoying them, right?
Yeah.
That's how I go about getting clients. And that feels so good because it builds on itself, right? For every 100 people I'm connecting with and messaging, probably 25 of them will become my clients. And that does take time. Some people will take a year or two to convert into your clients. I've had people join Pop Club after 2 years of following me on Instagram or LinkedIn. I've had clients become my clients after 2 years of following up with them in the LinkedIn DMs for writing services. The reason it works is because you're planting the seeds now for them to grow over time, and then you can pick those plants later. It's just like, would you go plant lettuce today and expect to have it tomorrow? No. You're going to plant lettuce and expect to have it in like 50 days on average. I know that because I planted lettuce a couple months ago. But like, right, I'm not expecting it to happen overnight. It's going to take time. You have to nurture it. You have to water it, right? You have to make sure the soil is right for it. And then you can go and pick it later. And that system just keeps going forever. It's amazing because you can build it that way. And that feels safe. That feels good. This is what we call, me and my friend Michelle came up with, dog energy versus cat energy. Dog energy is the employee. They want you to love them. They're so excited when you look at them. My dog's sitting right now. Every time I look at her, she's like, me? You're looking at me? Cat energy is like, hey, I'm here. You know, let's hang out if you want, right? It's calm. It's attracting. That is also a mindset shift, right? Because when you believe that money is hard to come by, and you believe that you have to work hard to get money, and you believe that no one's hiring, quote unquote, I can tell you people are hiring, then it's going to be hard, right? And it's going to be scary, and you're going to feel so stressed out in your body. A lot of us, especially women, have been taught not to trust our intuition, not to listen to our bodies. And your body is always going to be telling you what is right. If you feel like you're calming down, but you're still excited and enthusiastic, that's when you're doing something right, right? But if
Yeah.
you feel like you're panicked, you're not doing something right. And so for me, some of that was working with a coach on my mindset about like, there are gigs out there. I just need to be targeting the correct people. But some businesses can afford it and some can't. There's also the mindset shift from employee to business owner, and that can be with clients, that can be with like having boundaries around your business. Like my calendar used to be open 24/7, not 24/7, but like,
yeah, but
you know, every day of the week.
You want it to be available to anyone anytime. Yeah,
right.
Totally.
And the truth is, like, I changed it, so I only accept meetings on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and literally no one has said it doesn't work for them. No one has complained, and it's only open from like 11 to 4 on my calendar. No one's complained.
Yeah. It's so funny. I have so much to say about what you just said, but just on the calendar thing, I tend to do my meetings on Mondays and Fridays. And I just sent my calendar to someone who was like, those are my 2 days that I do not have meetings, but she made it work anyway. She's like, it's fine. I'll make it work. But yeah, oh my God, you just said so many good things. I agree with you. So many people who are doing freelance writing in particular, but really this applies to the whole concept of freelancing, whatever industry you're in. It really is that employee mindset of applying for gigs. And I think that the other piece of it where you're taking ownership is marketing yourself, right? So there are so many ways to market yourself, and all the things that you just talked about are forms basically of marketing. Yeah, right. Totally. Like, and I think that people tend to think of marketing as like very traditional. You have to be posting on social media and you have to be doing ads, all these things that we tend to think of in a very like traditional marketing sense. And those things are good. Like if you can do it, then great. But if you're a solopreneur who like doesn't have a lot of time and you can only spend your effort on specific things, I think that thinking about what's going to give you the biggest bang for your buck from a marketing standpoint, and those like one-on-one connections are always going to yield more results. And, you know, and I say this as a marketing professional, like I'm a big believer in the traditional forms of marketing as well. But I think that it's really about that shift of thinking of like marketing is a piece of your business. And I think that is the piece for many freelancers that's missing, where they're like, okay, I just have to apply for gigs and find them and apply for them and hope for the best and cross my fingers and bury my head and cry because no one's getting back to me, right? And instead thinking, no, I'm a business owner and running a business requires marketing. And that's going to look like X, Y, Z. This is what I can do to take control and have that ownership.
Yeah. And that temptation to give up when people aren't responding to you is so, so strong. It feels so discouraging because we're not used to it. And it feels like this must not be normal. Like that person that's so successful, Rachel over there, she must get responses to every single one of her cold pitches, her cold DMs, her cold connection requests. The truth is, y'all, basically 25-ish% of all the connection requests I send get accepted. And then of that, maybe 25% become my clients. And that is completely normal. And almost every single one of those people who become my clients after 3, 4, or 5 follow-ups. Okay. So having to follow up multiple times, normal. You're not being annoying. You're doing your job. If you were on a sales team at a big corporation, would you give up after 1 follow-up? No, you'd be fired. You're going to fire yourself right now? Because that's what you should be doing if you're not following up. That's how it works. But the thing is that 25% conversion rate feels real cushy compared to the 2% conversion rate from content marketing. Absolutely. You do not need to be doing content marketing to get clients. You just need to be making connections. And like, honestly, if you want a good, successful freelance business, you only need like 5 clients at a time, maximum. Truly. I challenge you to do more than that because I had 7 clients at one point and I was crying. It was not going well for me. We think that we like need so much and we're very hungry for validation. When you are a business owner, when you are a freelancer, no one is going to be there saying like, good job and like telling you what to do. You're going to get an assignment and you're responsible for getting it done by the deadline and they're going to give you feedback. And that doesn't mean you did a bad job. That just means you did your job and they need something slightly different. I did not get praise as a freelancer until 4 years in. And at that point as well, about 2 years in actually, I started being a lot more aggressive with my follow-ups per the request of another Rachel, my old roommate. She was like, bitch, just send the follow-up. I'm so tired of seeing you waffling over this. They're not even going to care that you followed up with that.
Right.
Just send it. Stop being self-conscious. You're in your head. And so I started sending twice as many follow-ups, still spaced out about every 3 months, like quarterly, because that's when people are making decisions.
Yeah.
And I started seeing massive results to the point where like I started having to refer out my work, which by the way, I always give away in Pop Club. I'm like, anybody want this? Because I can't take it. Because I'm so paranoid that I'm not going to have enough clients that I am out here still. That Get Clients guide that I share for free with everybody literally is what I use. I open it every single day for 30 minutes and do it. And I'm at the point where I'm just like giving work away, and I'm not going to stop because that's how I know that my business is going to thrive. But it's scary and it's so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
That's normal. That's normal.
Totally. Earlier, you talked about that feeling in our bodies as women, right? And I think that you're touching on something that is so uniquely a female challenge with running a business. We have so much more of that drive to seek validation and to like look for that security in a way. Like, I think that that's very, very natural. And
to not be annoying.
Yeah. And we don't want to be annoying. I've spoken with so many female business owners. That's who I work with. And they all have that same like fear of like, I don't want to be annoying. I don't want to be too self-promoty, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm always like, no. You are a business owner. This is what it takes to run a business. You're doing great. No one is thinking that of you. You're thinking that of yourself. This is all happening inside of you. And it takes a lot of work to kind of move past that.
There's two things I want to say here. Number one, we believe that we just have to somehow make this massive leap. It's just like the idea of overnight success. You are not going to overnight just suddenly feel more confident. I am this version of me because of 8 years of dealing with myself, intentionally working on myself, and also unintentionally taking breaks when I burnt out. Pace yourself. It's going to take time. It's not going to happen overnight. But if you want that quick fix, this is like chocolate. It's not going to work all the time, okay? Like, just borrow it, okay? You don't need to be confident. You can just borrow it. I used to love going into my sister's closet and borrowing her clothes. Like, I would steal her Abercrombie polo and wear it to school until she saw me in the hallway and I'd get in trouble for borrowing it. But like, nothing gave me more confidence than stealing her Abercrombie polo and those Adidas shell sneakers. Like, kill me. I'm so cool. That confidence is something that you can still have from borrowing. All you have to do is borrow the average white man's confidence anytime you want. They steal from us every single day. Take a little bit back. I sometimes like to think, what would my boyfriend do? And just do it. You know, what would that guy on YouTube that you follow who just like unabashedly shares these like not even vlogs about like electric vehicles, who has like 10,000 people watching it daily? Like, what's that guy doing? You know, he is just a human like you.
My best friend sent me a sticker. I did my first jujitsu tournament last week. And I've been doing jujitsu for almost 9 years. And I did my first tournament. And it was a big deal. And I was nervous but excited. And she sent me a little care package beforehand. And she sent me a sticker that said something, I don't remember the exact words, but it was something like, have the confidence of a mediocre white man. And I was like, yep, that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to go out there and have the confidence of a mediocre white man. On that note, what do you think is the hardest part of running a business as a woman? And what do you think is the best part?
I feel like the hardest part is pricing. We as women always underprice ourselves. And the amount of times I found out that a man who was doing the same thing as me was making like twice as much as me is disheartening. And
totally,
I still struggle with it. And also, as an empathetic person, I just always want everybody to feel financially comfortable. But like, that's not helpful for me if I'm not feeling financially comfortable. And what was your second part of that question?
What's the best part of running a business as a woman?
I have found just the best friends on the internet from running a business as a woman. I was not the kind of kid who gal pals. I played on the boys club soccer team. There was no women's team when I was in middle school and high school because I wanted to play soccer year round, and I was kicking those boys' asses. But also, they were my friends and my ski buddies, boys. I didn't have that girlhood friendship until maybe a couple of years ago, and most of that friendship started on the internet, and a lot of them have become friends in real life. And I think that part of that is the way that feminine support is trending. Like ever since the Barbie movie came out, it feels like it's okay to be a girl. I was a major tomboy when I was a kid. I was literally too self-conscious to wear dresses. I did not start dressing femininely until I was like maybe 27. I'm 29 right now. I've only been wearing pink for like 6 months, okay? Guys.
Yeah.
So really being able to step into like that part of myself that is more feminine and have these women friends and like feel like I can trust them and relate to them in different ways, and being able to like honor my inner child as well has been such a journey that like I just did not expect. And I feel like I wouldn't necessarily have that if I hadn't been an entrepreneur who was connecting with all these women in this way, you know?
Yeah. I'm totally with you. Since I've been active on LinkedIn, but for sure since I went out on my own and started my business and started getting really active on LinkedIn, like the amount of connections I've made that are so strong, and I just get so much support. And I feel like women running businesses understand that need for deep connection in a way that I think men don't necessarily understand that need. They need it just as much as women do, but they don't understand that need quite as much. Yeah, it's definitely a big benefit of female entrepreneurship.
Yeah, I think also like making friends and networking is something that you can learn, because I never felt very comfortable making friends. And I always kind of struggled with where's the point when you can reach out to somebody for support? What's the point where you can call yourself friends? I always feel like I need to ask because I move around a lot. So I'm not always around the same people. I've never had a friend for a long time. Like my longest friendship, I think, started in 2016, and she doesn't even live near me, right? I don't have friends from high school. I don't have friends from college, and which is really interesting because my partner still lives in the same valley where he grew up. He has friends from high school and college. And I'm always like, why do you feel like you're too afraid to like approach your friends for support? They're like there for you, dude. They're not going anywhere. You've been friends for this long.
So funny. I have the same discussions with my husband. It's such a male-female thing. He's just like, I don't know. I don't have anyone to like ask for support. And I'm like, okay, but you can't just always lean on me. You need to lean on your friends who you've been friends with for decades. They love you and support you no matter what. And once you kind of build that connection with fellow female friends, it just becomes a lot easier to lean on each other and support each other. And I don't know if you found the same thing, but I have found that I've really deepened connections by having a very generous spirit. And what you're talking about, sharing work with people, that is my favorite thing to do as a business owner, is when someone comes to me and I'm like, I can't help you, but I've got the perfect person for you. I just like refer work out as much as I can because it just is the best feeling ever. And then it just deepens those connections because people are like, oh, you're really giving and you're generous and you're just a cool person. And I want to also help you and support you. And it makes those connections so much stronger.
Yeah. I have so many friends now that are freelancers who like I've given work, they've given me work. And I used to be afraid to give away work. And I used to be afraid to say no to work too. But the more I do it, actually, the more work I get. The more I refer out, the more I get. The more I share, like putting this free course on YouTube, and the Get Clients Guidebook that I share for free now used to be a paid resource. Ever since I started sharing it for free, I've made more money, I've gotten more clients, and I've also helped more people, which I think is what really matters at the end. So it's again, that scarcity mindset will hold you back. And it seems super logical to be like, no, I spent a lot of time on this. This will earn people money. I deserve to get paid. There's this whole debate going around on LinkedIn too about referral fees. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't.
There's a lot of people who are like, you should be charging referral fees. You're missing out on money. Why aren't you doing this? And I'm like, I did charge referral fees when I first started because a business coach told me to. And since I stopped charging referral fees, I've gotten more referrals. Like I used to require the client or whoever I was referring work to pay me for that referral because it does take time and building that network and stuff like that. But like at the end of the day, it's the cost of doing business.
Totally.
I'm not trying to charge for referrals anymore.
Yeah, exactly. It's that non-woo-woo side side of, and if you're woo-woo inclined, no judgment here, but I'm not really, but I think it's the non-woo-woo side of manifesting, right? It's what you put out into the world is going to come back to you. Like that's really what it is.
That's the thing. Okay, so I was talking to somebody else about this the other day. So I'm hosting this retreat in October, right? With this woman, Marie, who I have hired as my like life coach the past 2 years for the first 3 months of the year to like get me started on the right foot and audit and like work on my self-growth. And I've looked up to her since like 2019. I've been following her since then. It took me a few years to sign up with her, obviously. But before I signed up to work with her, like the year before I signed up to work with her, she was running a program online, a coaching program with another person that I follow who all three of us are through hikers. So like they met hiking and I was unbelievably jealous. I was like, why didn't she ask me to do this? Because we had talked so many times. We were friends before I hired her. At least she considered us friends. And I was like, I don't know what I mean. And then this year she came to me and she was like, I heard you wanted to do a retreat. I really want to do one too. Do you want to team up? And I was like, oh my God, yeah. But the thing that got me from being jealous to actually getting to partner with her is doing the thing that you want. I have been putting in effort to get collaborations, to guest on podcasts, to do events with other freelancers and creatives and coaches this whole time since I was jealous. But that year I was jealous, I wasn't doing anything. I was doing absolutely nothing to market my coaching business. I was barely skating by on freelance clients. I was working my ass off on writing client work. Now I'm marketing my coaching business and I'm doing the thing. I read an article actually by James Clear recently about motion versus action. Motion is research and planning and watching, saying you're going to do it and deciding you're going to do it. Action is actually doing the thing. And I think a lot of us get caught up in motion. And it's one of those things that's like, you can say you want to run a retreat all day long. You can say you're going to guest on podcasts. You can know what's going to move the needle. But until you actually guest on podcasts and you actually ask someone to do a retreat with you, those things aren't ever going to happen. Yeah, they're not just going to magically come to you. But if you do them, then people will approach you, you know, because they'll see you're capable and that you want it, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's such a huge mindset shift. And I think that we have, as a society, such an addiction to busyness, right? Mm-hmm. It's so easy to get caught up in that. You're stressing about the things that you're busy with, but those things that you're busy with are not actually moving the needle towards where you want to go. And I've had a very big shift personally in my business as well the last few months. That same shift where I went from spinning my wheels and feeling like I don't know what I'm doing and banging my head against the wall and all of that, and then just sitting down and saying, okay, what are the things that I actually need to do to make a difference? And as soon as I started doing those things, it was like night and day. My business just totally shifted. I actually went through like this massive rebrand of my company right at the start of that because everything became clear to me once I made that shift.
Exactly. Yes. That clarity. Because as you act, you get feedback from the results and then you know what to do next. But when you only do the motion part, there's no feedback. So you don't know what to do next. You always feel scared of the unknown because you're never getting to the part where you know, right?
Yeah.
I feel like people also get stuck in this, like, I always hear people saying like, well, how do I know if a company hires freelancers? How do I know if this is the right company for me? And how do I know if they can afford me? How do I know who the right person is to talk to? You fucking don't. You don't. And you're never going to unless you ask and you just like start doing the thing. So I always tell people when you're trying to decide who you want to get for clients, make an ideal clients list. Make a list of like 200 companies that you might want to work for. They don't have to be perfect, you know, and just start going down the list. You don't need to know if they work with freelancers. You're not going to know. You don't need to know what their budget is. You're not going to know. Just reach out to the right people with the right titles there. And eventually someone will either tell you or ignore you. And that's your answer.
Yeah, totally. If I may, there's one semantic shift that I'd like to point out because this was such a big shift for me going from that mindset of freelance employee mindset to business owner. Is instead of thinking about companies that I want to work for, I think about companies that I want to work with, right? Clients that I want to work with. Because I don't work for anyone, right? I'm working with my clients. And again, the type of work that I'm doing now is very different, but it doesn't matter. Like, I think that is a really important, and it sounds so simple. And
no,
it's
I think
something
it's
that
important. Yeah.
I've said this to a couple of people and they're like, well, that's what I meant. And I'm like, no. It does make a difference. It really does make a difference in how you think about what type of work you're doing. And also, you're not an order taker. Right? Like as a business owner, that shouldn't be the goal. It's not just have a job description and fulfill the role, right? You're there to help your clients achieve a goal by offering the service that you offer. And so I think that like partnership is really, really key.
Yeah, I love that. You're not walking in there for a job interview asking them to give you a job. You are going into the sales call in control, letting them know what you can do for them.
Exactly.
With them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Quick pause. Can we talk about content for a second? If you're staring at a blank screen more often than you're hitting post, it might be because you're trying to create content that doesn't fit your actual strengths. It's kind of like wearing someone else's jeans. They may look super good on your friend, but you put them on and they are not comfortable and they just aren't doing your butt any favors. That's why I created the Content Marketing Power Type quiz. It's free and it helps you figure out the kind of content you were made to create. The kind of content that feels natural, sustainable, and actually connects with your people in a way that lights you up. In just 45 seconds, or maybe even 30 if you're quick about it, you're going to find out your power type and get custom recommendations to make content feel easier and more effective. Head on over to honeybeebold.com/quiz. That's honeybeebold.com/quiz. Take it and then DM me your result because I kind of need to know. All right, let's dive back into the episode. What would you say is your like superpower or magic when it comes to the work that you do, whether that's on the freelancing side or the coaching side? It could be two different things or it could be the same thing that just happens to overlap. What is your superpower?
I would say my superpower is like helping people get clients, as you might have heard me talk about this podcast episode. I'm just like so passionate about it because I feel like it's just such a struggle for so many people, but you just need to have a system. And what I've learned is that like most things in your business benefit from a system, whether you realize you're using a system or not. My process for writing a blog, I didn't realize I had a system. It's just what I do, right?
Yeah.
I can write it out for you and you can follow it and get the same results. And that's sort of been an eye-opener for me this year, especially to realize like, oh, I do have systems and they help. Like my number one goal when I first started freelancing was to be able to like show up to work, do my job and leave. Because that's what I loved about being a barista. Show up, do your job, leave. I don't want to be stressed out outside of work. I don't want to be exhausted outside of work. I just want to know what I'm doing. And to do that, slowly building systems can really help. And again, nothing is going to happen overnight. You have to learn. And you could take my Get Clients Guidebook and end up modifying it because it doesn't work for you or it feels too salesy for you. I hope it does feel too salesy for you because then it's probably not salesy enough. But one of my clients told me that she has over 1,500 connections on LinkedIn and she's never really like gotten work from LinkedIn. And so the first thing she did was take one of my follow-up templates from the Get Clients Guidebook and send that as a message to people that she's already connected with on LinkedIn. And she said in 1 week of doing that for 30 minutes a day, she got 7 discovery calls and one person like ready to sign a contract in the DM.
Yes. That's awesome.
Because you already know those people. She just hadn't used it. And so it doesn't mean that you have to do something the way that somebody else does it exactly right. The way that I found works the best to learn something as a business owner is see what other people are doing, experiment with it, try it out, and then make it your own.
Yeah.
How does it fit in my business? Because your business is yours. And you can do it your way. There's no one right way to freelance. It's not like school where there's these levels and you walk up these perfect stairs. It's like a crazy roller coaster. It's like just going to be different and squiggly every time, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's a pretty powerful superpower is helping people get clients. Because I think that is the piece that so many people are just stuck on. They're like, I know that I can do good work, but I just don't know how to find the people who are going to hire me. So yeah, that's really huge. This is one of my favorite questions. If money were no object, you got a cash injection of $1 million tomorrow, what would you be doing differently in your business, if anything?
I think I would just be doing less. Like I write for Fortune 500 companies and stuff right now. It's not that I'm not passionate about it. I would so much rather be spending my day hanging out in Pop Club, updating my website to be what I want it to be, doing free workshops for people. I love humans. I just love helping people. I love the light bulb moment. There's a reason I went to college to be a teacher, and it sucks that the education system is so garbage that I've become a freelancer instead. But that fire is still there. To me, the most important thing in life, in the world, is community. And we, especially as Americans, do not get enough of it. And seeing someone go from, I just bought your community plan so I could get access to your resources, to going through the onboarding call with me, making their roadmap, and me being like, by the way, this is what happens in Slack if you want to join us over there, to them going to Slack, going to every office hours, showing up at every workshop, going to co-working, being so excited to have online friends, not even realizing that that was something they needed, is so heartwarming, because you can have all the tools all day. You can have all the templates all day. Sure, it'll help you. But if you're not nurturing your soul and relating to other humans and getting validation somewhere and getting support and being able to ask your questions, it's going to be a lot harder. Loneliness hurts. It hurts so bad. I've been lonely in my life a lot. It's really painful. Solo traveling is not for the faint of heart, and neither is being a solopreneur, you know?
Yeah, this just relates to a very relevant thing that just happened. You may have seen my LinkedIn post about it, but we have pet rabbits, and one of our rabbits died last Friday. She was very old. And she wasn't sick that we know of, but she was showing signs of aging. And as far as we know, she went peacefully, and it was obviously very sad, but the best way that it could have gone, because we were expecting things to take a worse turn. But she was bonded with another rabbit, and rabbits can literally die of loneliness. And so we weren't planning on getting another rabbit so quickly, but he almost immediately started showing signs of depression. He was not eating, he wasn't moving, the same things that we go through with grief, except that he could literally die of this. And so we had to go into fast action, get another rabbit. So we just adopted another rabbit, and now bonding them is a whole process. It will take probably weeks, maybe months to like fully bond them. But he's already, even just having her like nearby, he's coming out of his shell, he's eating, he's doing much, much better. Meanwhile, she's being a little bit of a bully, and she's being mean to him, but hopefully they'll get past their like initial trouble. But I've been thinking about this a lot, this idea of loneliness and community, and how powerful it is. It does affect our health as well, but maybe not quite as dramatically or as quickly. It's so powerful, and it's something that people don't even realize how harmful it is to feel alone in whatever struggle you're going through. And we all go through struggles, whether you're a business owner or not, right? Life is fucking hard, and add business ownership on top of that, and it's really, really hard. And we need support. We need help. So I think that that's such a key thing.
It's crazy, because people always ask me like, why'd you quit van life? Because for a lot of people, that's an unachievable dream. They think. But, they believe it's unachievable for them, and it's like, you're living the dream. And it was my dream for so long. I can now admit, because it's been years, I quit van life because I was lonely.
Yeah.
And I was too embarrassed to say that when I was out there. But it's so hard to travel solo and then also be running a business on your own. And then also the instability of van life with questioning your safety is also a thing. But like, if I had more friends to travel with that were also doing van life, I don't think I would have quit. No way. If I had a partner that I was doing it with, I don't think I would have quit.
Yeah.
I love nothing more than car camping. It's my favorite activity. And we go car camping like every other weekend. It's just such an important thing. Like, it affected my appetite, it affected my mood, it affected my business. I just lost it. And that's the truth. And like, to recover from that, it took me months. And then I was always questioning, like, when I was making new friends after I moved out of the van and like moved to a new town. It's really meaningful to have community, and you don't necessarily know it until you lose it, right? Or until you get it for the first time.
My husband and I actually, for a hot minute, we thought about moving to New Zealand for a year when he's a doctor. So I think it was when he was finishing residency, we thought, okay, let's go move to New Zealand for a couple of years and we'll kind of get this great experience. And ultimately we chickened out because we were like, we will be like 10,000 miles away from anyone. And
in the wrong time zone.
I was like, I won't be able to talk to my friends. I won't be able to see anyone. This is not going to be good for us. And even though we had each other, it still is not enough, right? You need to be surrounded by people who can support you. And there's still a tiny part of me that's like, oh, I wish we had done that when we could have.
Only a year.
but I think it probably would have been a disaster realistically. So I'm glad we opted for community instead. But
you never know. Yeah.
You never know. Maybe at some point we'll revisit that. So I'd love to hear, you've kind of talked about it already. So maybe the answer is not any different from what you just said, but what lights you up about your business today versus when you started?
When I started, it was the fuel for my adventures. So my goal when I finished the Appalachian Trail was to go back into rock climbing, which I'd already been doing for a few years, and really get strong to climb outside and live in a van so I could climb all over the US. And that was all I needed for fuel.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to buy a van. I wanted to build it as much as I could how I wanted. I wanted to get on the road. I didn't care what the van was. I didn't care what the build was. I wanted to get my rock climbing gear and I wanted to get out there and do the real thing, right? Because I'd only climbed in gyms before that. I did it. And then after I did it, it's the same thing happened with my through hike. I got to the top of Katahdin, the last mountain on the Appalachian Trail, the finish line, and was like, what do I do now? Like the post-completion calm down is so real. They call it post-trail depression, but it's not really depression. It's more of grief. But it's hard to work on a mission for so long and then you finally complete it. And even if you know what you want to do next, like I knew what I wanted to do next after the trail, it's hard to like get back on track. You have to give yourself space to grieve. When I finished van life, I took like 3 months where I lived in an Airbnb and I just calmed down. I started taking care of my body. I had one singular client that was barely enough to pay some bills and I lived off my savings and unfortunately some credit card debt. My focus was letting myself have that post-completion calm down. And I didn't realize that's what the purpose was when I was there. But now looking back, I'm like, oh, this happens every time, right? So knowing that now, when I set goals for myself, I try to make sure that there's space around for both grief and celebration. Because I think Appalachian Trail is such a big deal. It should be celebrated. But I was just like so sad after. I haven't seen a majority of those people that I hiked with since it was such a bonding experience. And same with van life, the people I met on the road, the few people that I did hang with, nothing, gone. I'm not in a van anymore. So that was fuel. And now for me, the fuel is really building a sustainable community that can last a long time. I'm hoping to have kids one day. And I don't want to be sitting at my computer writing blogs for search engines when I have kids. I want to be fostering community, helping other people build careers that allow them to have kids and take maternity leave and work 4 hours a day and hire an assistant and another coach to help them with the community they've built and start writing if that's what they want to do, write a book, whatever, to support the lifestyle they actually want to live. I'm really into working to live, not living to work. So how can we break out of that, getting stuck sitting at your computer every day and start expanding, but also still maintain this community and supporting it?
I love that. And I think that is a perfect place to end this conversation because it so perfectly encapsulates what it is to be a female entrepreneur, right? This is really what it's about. It's about building the life that we want to live. It's about building that community, that connection. It's about doing work that really fuels us and doesn't drain us, right? In the way that I think so many people are unfortunately living that reality. So thank you. This was so lovely. So great to finally get to chat with
questions.
You. Oh, thank
Those
you.
Are so deep. I loved it. There's stuff that like I have not thought about before very much too.
A lot of the questions that I asked you today are questions that I ask I call it my bold foundation. So I start every project with this brand deep dive. It's a 90-minute conversation. So we get a lot deeper, but it's just basically like getting underneath because I do very values-driven brand work. So
I love that.
It's really all about figuring out, okay, what is it that really drives this business and this brand and what are the values underneath it? And then we build a brand strategy and the actual brand and website on top of that foundation. So yeah.
You sold me.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun. So Tell us where we can find you. And you talked about a couple of different offerings that you have. Where should people go to find you?
Yeah, you can go to meltzerseltzer.com. Everything is on there. My coaching services, whether you want to join Pop Club or do one-on-one coaching, or if you're just looking for free resources like the Get Clients Guidebook, it is all on there. It's all on the homepage. You will find it, I promise.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And we'll talk soon because I'm going to be on your podcast soon. So
yeah, I'm so excited to have you on. It's going to be such a good conversation.
yeah, I'm excited.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, beautiful human. That's a wrap on this episode of Bold Women in Business. This episode was brought to you by my company, Honey Be Bold, with music by Shmukulele. But before you go, don't forget to take the Content Marketing Power Type quiz at honeybebold.com/quiz, because when your content fits your power type, showing up gets way easier and your marketing actually starts working for you. Until next time, stay bold, stay kind, and keep doing it your way.